3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year! That was much better.
What's up, everybody? We are the Three Amigos and a podcast. We're back in the new year.
2020.
2020.
Son?
2020 vision.
2020.
Nope, not here.
To infinity. Yeah, me either. I got glasses on.
Must be nice, Brandon.
Yeah, what's that like? Non-four eyes? No,
Non-4-eyed.
Loser.
Everybody.
Glasses are cool now.
You're not cool unless you can't see.
You're not cool.
Unless you pee your pants.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, Happy New Year 2020. Season of the Padres. We've been predicting Padres 2020
God damn it, it's here.
for a while. It's here now.
I know, it kind of scares me because we've been saying it for so long that now it's like it's got to actually happen now.
Never back down. But yeah, 2020, exciting. How's
Yeah,
your guys'
definitely.
New Year?
It was great. Went over to the Scares to You, super last minute. I worked most of the day, and then went and played some board games, made some calzones, and
Calzones, wow.
that's what they were making over there. It was a bougie little Christmas party, man.
It was fun, man. Yeah.
It's been like at least 10, 15 years since I've had a calzone.
Every time I think of a calzone, it's just
Ben Wyatt.
Ben Wyatt.
Yeah.
We're like, why are you eating those? They're like stupid pizzas.
Just fold it in half. It's exactly it. But yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah,
all
good
those
time.
games we were playing were hilarious.
It was funny, like all those times, like you play those games with like parental figures, especially if it's their first time. Their reaction is it's timeless. It's stuff that
Yeah.
you'll never forget.
We played What Do You Meme and Cards Against Humanity.
I like
So-
What Do You Meme?
Yeah.
That one's
What Do You
good.
Meme is great, and it's a lot cleaner. Cards Against
Yeah.
Humanity. I think me and Dean had the same thing where it's like we really wanted Matt and Rollo to read all the dirty cards.
Because it's hilarious.
It's
It's
just
just funny to
hilarious,
hear.
yeah.
Yeah.
They like get uncomfortable and
Yeah.
they just start laughing. You're like,
I feel like Matt more so than Rollo.
Me and Dean both played like our dirtiest card on Matt, and like we couldn't like I knew as soon as I heard his, I was like, that's not mine. That's got to be Dean's.
What Do You Meme is probably one of the better games.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you gotta
it's
group
just-
people.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like ageist, but it is kind of hard to play with, people that don't
It's
understand
got to be
what
the
memes
same
are.
age group.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking to Shaylee about. It's like those games are so like geared towards, you have to play towards your audience. Like if it's my card, it's like, who's gonna know my humor like better than you guys and Shaylee? It's like, so if you're playing with like parents and stuff, it's like I didn't think that was funny.
Yeah, I don't get that face with that. Yeah.
Well, there's yeah.
But it was still fun. But Brandon, how was yours?
Low key, didn't really do much. Went to bed early. Had some birria and some tamales.
Some what?
Some birria. It's
Are
like
you saying like a fancy beer?
no, it's like a beef broth type thing.
Okay, I literally thought we were coming into 2020 with like a new slang word for beer.
Me
I was
too.
like,
No.
what are you doing?
I
Like,
thought I thought it was
it's
like a beer
it's
cocktail.
really good.
stop
It's
trying to make fetch
it's got a
happen.
lot of it's kind of a little fatty, but it tastes really good.
Sorry, man, you left that in
Nice.
2019. That's good.
Yeah. So, that was New Year's Eve. Then we went and hiked Cowles Mountain, watched the new Jumanji movie, which was really good.
How many people were on Cowles Mountain?
I mean, I feel like it's this. I don't know. We go New Year's every year.
Mhm.
It seems like for the last several years. So that's really all I know. But it was still a decent amount of people.
Me and Shaylee were wondering, is because like we saw your guys' picture, and then she's like, how many people do you think actually go to Cowles Mountain on New Year's Day? It's like, trying to like get that New Year's thing. It's like cool tradition, but I was like, I don't know, it's a good question because like the gym is empty on New Year's Day.
Yeah. It was a lot of families with like their kids and stuff.
Yeah.
The parents would take their kids and
It's a holiday, so I would imagine there would be
everyone
people
has
out
the
there.
day off.
It was. It wasn't like super crowded, but it was still. I mean, there's still a lot of people on the trails. So.
And it was like a really nice day.
It was.
Sarah and I went with her sister and a couple friends down to the beach, down to like PB. We were playing spike ball and stuff and watched the sunset. But
nice.
it was like a really nice day down there too, because I thought maybe it would get a little cold or windy, but
Yeah.
overall it was nice.
I meant to say too, and like we always like start these podcasts off with like what did we do?
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that the three of us are not active on social media because I thoroughly enjoy actually hearing about what you did versus like, oh, I already know you did that.
Exactly.
I saw you post to your story.
Yeah. I watched your Instagram.
We're kind of old a little bit. Like I feel like if we were born 5 years younger or something like that, we'd probably be really active.
I don't know.
on
There's a lot
social
of
media.
people our age that are still super active. It's one of those things where the older I get, the more I like my privacy.
Exactly. And plus, it's just like work
Yeah.
to do.
I
you know what
also
mean?
like I feel like I'd rather live in the moment
Yeah.
than post it on a thing for other people to enjoy.
Yeah,
over
I don't
myself.
judge people that do it. I just think it's the day and age now. People are doing it. Me for myself, I'm the same way. I'm like I don't need to tell everybody what I'm doing. I just like to be here.
In all reality, I'm just terrible at taking pictures.
I am bad too.
So that's really where it
I
stems from.
tried on Christmas morning. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a couple of videos to send to Shaylee's mom and dad of her like opening her presents
Yeah.
because I wasn't here last week. We did the Christmas day with Shaylee's parents. We like set it up on our TV, so we like
Oh, that's
mirrored
cool.
the
Yeah.
FaceTime from my laptop. So we actually had them in like our living room.
That's awesome.
But then
That's
like
really
we did
cool.
our presents separately with them. Yeah, it was awesome. It looked really cool. But I was like, I'm gonna take a bunch of pictures. I got through the first hour and then I was like, let me check to see how many I took. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Not very many pictures.
Really-
I just picture you being like me, where I'm like every once in a while I'll be like, I'll be motivated to be active on social media, and then I realize I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm not feeling it.
And then I'm the type of person I'm like, where the fuck did I put my phone?
Yeah.
Well, half the time, like a lot of my recent pictures are just pictures Sarah took because I'm just like, she just goes, "Can I use your phone? You have a better camera." I'm like, "Sure." There you go. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to take them. You do it. You're better. But yeah, any New Year's resolution for you guys? I mean, we kind of opened the podcast pretty. That was pretty. I don't know, eye opening.
Yeah,
Eye-opening
it was
in a
just
way
it's,
of just like,
yeah, it's
we're
kind of
on
nice.
social
It's,
media.
it's refreshing that I was like when we actually go through like how's your week been? It's like
Yeah.
oh
It's
I don't
legit.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's new?
Yeah. I don't really have any New Year's resolutions. I think last year mine was like get back into school, and I did that. So
Floss.
yeah,
January 1st. Boom.
Boom.
yeah, dude. My mom got us this like nice. This is a really funny story actually. A nice electric toothbrush. So part one of the story is Shaylee was like, "Where's the second like
Attachment.
the second like electric toothbrush?" And I was like, "There's only one. They have different heads." And she was like, "But you use that one." And I was like, "Have you never used an electric toothbrush before? You changed the head." She was like, "Well, I've only ever used one by myself." It was the funniest thing. Like she had no idea that
I didn't even realize it either. Yeah, you just share the base.
Yeah, you share the base and then you change the heads.
Hmm.
But like she's either like lived by herself or she had regular toothbrushes with her parents.
Yeah.
But it was like I had to explain. I was like, "You're 28 years old and I just had to explain an electric toothbrush to you."
I don't know. I've always been a manual guy. I got one of those Quip toothbrushes.
Mhm.
Those are pretty sweet.
Yeah, you're a big Quip guy.
Yeah. I mean, they send you the brush heads every 3 months.
Yeah,
So I have like a fresh brush head every time.
yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I always keep a toothbrush in my backpack at work, so that one's always manual. So I
Yeah.
use both. But this one, the other shitty part about it is it's Bluetooth connected.
What?
So like Shaylee can actually go in and see like if I brushed my teeth.
That's,
And I'm like,
That's
Oh,
weird.
weird.
I was like,
That's
this is
super
This
weird.
is bullshit. I was like, I have a toothbrush in my backpack. I was like, I can't go in and edit my time card. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, that's so.
Well, like, yeah, that would be really weird. You're like, hey, you didn't brush your teeth on the.
That's a hilarious
Tuesday night.
thing for like kids though.
yeah.
Be like, "Oh, did you brush your teeth?" Yeah. Oh, really? Because the Bluetooth said that you didn't.
It said that you brushed for 30 seconds. That's not 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely a.
Yeah, you're supposed to sing
That would
"Happy
be good-
Birthday" twice. You
That would
didn't.
only be good for like a parent with their kids or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like everybody tracks
funny.
everything now. So I'm like, calories, exercise.
Yeah.
Like, I guess we're tracking our freaking toothbrush habits too.
Dude, that's hilarious. That's that's extreme. What about you, B? Any resolutions?
I not really, but just looking to reduce the amount of meat I'm eating. I saw that Game Changer video, and that's pretty much it. Where
Got another one.
yeah, no, I'm not like fully giving up on it. I just want to like kind of. I feel better actually since I've been reducing the amount of meat I've been eating. Feel like the energy's better. I feel like the last several years I've been struggling with like maintaining good energy, and like I'm
Yeah.
always tired all the time, which sucks. I feel like my recoveries are quicker on my workouts.
Yeah.
Just seeing how that goes, but it's not like it's like a hard
Yeah.
resolution where I'm like, yeah, I'm giving up meat, type
Yeah.
thing. Where it's like more like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna start doing a little bit more this year. And it's not like the New Year caused it to do that. I was doing it slightly before New Year's, but
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have any. I just kind of have like some goals that I want to accomplish in like my professional life and then work on this house. So That's really it. Nothing too major though. But yeah, I'm
You
excited.
You starting school?
I haven't yet. I do have a couple brochures and stuff, so I'm looking at some classes.
For this year?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, looking at some classes to do and take and whatnot, so it'll be good.
Nice.
I'm excited.
What are you gonna study?
Well, I'm taking some classes to do I'm taking some looking to take some programming classes.
You basically
And
just need to
then-
get your bachelor's degree, right?
Yeah. All my credits and stuff are directed towards informational systems, so I might just finish that up and then go from there. But
Be the easiest way, yeah.
yeah, I got all my high level math classes out of the way, so
I have math
yeah,
this semester.
math, dude. Those classes
I'm good
are,
at math though. I like math's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always did well in math.
It's just there's no bullshit. It's just it's one of those things like you're saying, like it sucks because like you can't bullshit your way through math.
no,
You have to do it and you have to do it right.
mm-hmm.
Like English class, like you can bullshit your way through that. But that's the one where it's like yes or no.
It's all problem solving. You know, it's like
Mhm.
trying to figure out how to get this solution to a problem.
Definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, it'll be good. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how 2020 goes. I'm excited for it though. Start of the decade and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. So Roaring 20s back again.
Yeah.
Here we go. But yeah, we'll start into some NFL first, and then we'll do some
I was gonna say, you
college
gotta clear,
football.
Clear your throat.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Let me clear my throat.
Let me clear it.
Damn. Now it's like stuck there. But yeah, we'll do some NFL, wild card weekend, college football, and then maybe touch on some Padres.
Sweet.
So NFL, we had a lot of coaching changes towards the end of the year. Obviously, the Panthers fired Ron Rivera earlier. The Redskins got rid of John Gruden fairly early in the season.
Jay Gruden.
But then the Giants finally fired Pat Shurmur, and the Browns got rid of Freddie Kitchens. So, I mean, I don't know, like, which one of these head coaching vacancies you guys think is the most, like, enticing. Obviously, the Redskins, they hired Ron Rivera, so they're off the board. But out of the Panthers, Browns, and Giants, where are you guys kind of looking, or where do you want to go?
Well, we still have the Cowboys and so you said
Yeah.
the Redskins. So that one's still like up in the air.
Yeah, I didn't put the Cowboys on because it's like, fuck,
Yeah.
we don't know what the heck's going on. You know what I mean?
I think that the Giants position seems like the most attractive one. I mean, the Redskins probably would have been my pick if you would, if that one already hadn't been done. But I think looking at them now, the Giants, they drafted their quarterback last year. There's a lot of promise there. They have the number 3 overall pick in the draft this year. They have Saquon Barkley. I think that the biggest issue with the Giants is that like they have to start rebuilding from inside out. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I feel like they've struggled with is drafting good offensive linemen and good defensive ends. Ever since they had their Super Bowl team where they had like Asamoah and Strahan and JPP.
Yeah.
I was like, what's his name? And I was like, oh yeah, JPP.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Giants one probably looks the most appealing, considering that, I mean, I wouldn't be excited to take on the Browns position just because it seems like a giant dumpster fire. And then the Panthers, it's like, there's no more Cam Newton. That's another team that needs like a total facelift. You don't have a quarterback. You have a fantastic running back that you're overusing, so you don't know how long he's going to be healthy for. Mm-hmm. In the Panthers, it's like they're one of those teams where it's like you play in the same division as the Saints, the Bucks, the Falcons. It's a tough division.
Yeah.
For me, honestly, both I think all 3 of the ones that you just mentioned, I feel like each has their own like appealing point. I think you look at the Browns, you look at them as kind of the more polished team. They seem like they're pretty much ready to contend. However, it's been, it hasn't been done. Like they have a poorly run organization with a bunch of skilled players on it. I guess for me, if it were me, it'd be between the Giants and the Panthers for the most appealing of the two. The Panthers only if I'm given a long leash where I'm signed on for several years and like, hey, you have all these players that you're going to probably be able to deal, and then you can get the talent that you want with those players. They're gonna. If it were me, like you said, full facelift, I'm trading Luke Kuechly for multiple picks. I'm trading Christian McCaffrey for picks.
Yeah.
I'm unloading these skilled players, and I'm just starting over from scratch, and I'm building it out the team that I want. And I'd need that agreement with the GM prior to taking on that role.
They've missed hard with a lot of their draft picks lately. Kelvin Benjamin, even Curtis Samuels doesn't look phenomenal.
Yeah. DJ Moore.
Like, I mean, he's been good.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good.
But like, they've missed on a lot of their other draft picks, and it's hard to, look at that roster and be like, anytime you're finishing sub 500 in the bottom of your division, I mean, it's not a good time.
The one thing that would make that attractive, though, is you're making the team that you want if you and the GM are on the same page. And then the Giants, it's like you said before, they have a bunch of young, skilled players, and it seems like they're only a couple of years away from being a playoff contender.
Yeah. For me, the Browns look like the most enticing ones, just because they also got rid of
Are we
Jack
starting
Dorsey.
2020 with this Browns shit again?
I'm just saying, like, okay, they get rid of Freddie Kitchens, you fire your GM Dorsey as well. It's like, if you can get a head coach and a GM that can mesh well together, then they can do exactly what you're saying with, like, the Panthers, of getting the organization the way you want to go, running the team how you want. That's the only reason, like, the Giants, for me, it's like, you listen to any kind of New York sports radio or anything about, like, New York Giants fans, they all hate Dave Gettleman. They think that he's like a terrible GM, all this kind of stuff. So that's the only reason why I'm like, I would stay away from that, because it seems like they're going to look for somebody they can control. Like, they're going to want their vision. So that's the only reason why I think the Browns kind of...
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I honestly think that the Redskins have the most appealing job, with Ron Rivera now obviously taking that one.
Yeah.
And my thing with the Cowboys is the same thing that you're talking about with Dave Gettleman. I would not want to work for Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
it's too short of a leash. You have no control over your team. And, with the Redskins, it's like they're in a position to, probably draft Chase Young. They already have their quarterback for the future. They have good pieces on the offensive side of the ball, great pieces on the defensive side of the ball. A young roster that I feel like is up and coming. But I mean, my thing with the Browns is that their roster is intact, and they finished the season so poorly. I mean, they really never got off to a good start in general. So it's like, what are you going to do? What are you doing with Landry? What are you doing with OBJ? The defense, like, they've had, Denzel Ward. They have this freaking issue with, or Garrett now, Myles Garrett. So it's like, it seems like there's a lot more distractions there with that Browns position, but they need to get somebody in there that can just give them a jolt of energy. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that they're missing.
I think a proven coach is what that team needs, certainly. And I think one of the things that, like, I think you're alluding to is the market. Playing for the Giants or coaching for the Giants and the Cowboys. There's kind of that standard that the fans hold the team accountable to, and if the team's not getting it done, the fans come down on you pretty hard.
Absolutely. Especially like the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, you're not that far removed from
two Super Bowl championships, 2 decades,
and you have arguably like the most talented young running back on the field, you know what I mean? So
I'd say the most talented running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between him and Zeke,
I think with talent, yes. Like, I mean, him and Ezekiel Elliott, I think, are like 1A and 1B. You see that, if that dude had an offensive line.
That's what I mean. It's like, that's the only reason why I'm saying, like, arguably, just because, like, his numbers aren't there just because of what's surrounding it.
What's crazy is, probably the top 3 running backs all have coaching vacancies right now. So it's like, Christian McCaffrey,
said it a couple weeks ago,
Saquon,
stop drafting running backs so high.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, in Christian McCaffrey, like, that dude, I mean, he was nominated 2 different positions, the All-Pro team.
Yeah.
They made him the flex and the running back. I mean, he had 1,000 yards receiving, over 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, you had like the second most receptions out of all wide receivers and running backs. It's like, it's crazy. But yeah, there was a couple names circulating. We mentioned beforehand, Mike McCarthy, Lincoln Riley. I wanted to throw another name more for you, Ryan, to see. I know you would know where I'm going. Urban Meyer.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
got a smirk on your face.
I love Urban Meyer. I mean, but the damn thing with him is, like, controversy just follows this dude everywhere he goes. I mean, Florida, Ohio State, like, you name it. I mean, There's a plethora. I love Urban Meyer. I think he's a phenomenal like leader. It's just a hard transition from college football to the NFL. But I think that if there's anybody that can do it like in the right situation, I think Urban Meyer could be the guy. There's a dude, I don't know if if either of you guys know who this is, but Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator from the 49ers. He's the one that looks jacked, bald dude on the sideline all the time. He doesn't have any head coach experience, but my God, does this dude have a lot of energy. And I feel like the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, I know that they're not going to go after him, but like that team needs a jolt of energy. The Browns, they need a jolt of energy.
Yeah.
As much as he doesn't have the experience, which is what both of those teams are going to want, I feel like you're hard pressed to find a head coach out there that's going to have experience that is going to give you that same energy. Because even Mike McCarthy is a laid back guy.
Yeah.
I even saw like Tony Dungy's name getting thrown out. And I was like,
Tony Dungy's not coming.
He's not coming.
Yeah.
No. But that is a good one, and that is a good point. It's like there's a lot of like coordinators and stuff out there that always get a good look, but I agree. Yeah. It's like those organizations like the Browns and the Cowboys are going to want someone with experience. So.
And like Lincoln Riley, like I'm not taking anything away from like the Sean McVay or like Cliff Kingsbury, like, you know, methodical coaches where it's like everything's driven by analytics. I'm not taking anything away from those types of leaders.
Yeah.
I just think in certain environments, you need a different type of leader. Like in Lincoln Riley, he'd be a terrible fit in New York. Like that fan base, that organization would eat him up.
Yeah.
You know, the Dallas Cowboys, maybe you'd be Jerry Jones' puppet and that would be fine. But I'm hard pressed to like find organizations where that kind of coaching style fits. Like, you know, if you're going through a complete facelift, maybe somebody like Lincoln Riley would be good for the Panthers. You know, but. You know, it worked with Arizona so far so good.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
It is a tough jump to go from college to pro for coaching. You know what I mean?
It's trust anything in the Big 12. And if you get your ass kicked in a playoff game and you give up the most touchdowns in the first half by any freaking game in the history of bowl games, that you shouldn't be coaching in the NFL.
Yeah,
did something wrong.
Agreed. But yeah, let's continue with our preview show. Wild Card Weekend. We got a couple games today on Saturday with the Bills and the Texans and the Titans and the Patriots. Let's start with the Bills and the Texans. Thoughts?
I want to pick the Texans. I really do.
Yeah.
My only thing with this game is that if the Texans come out soft like they have a couple times this year, the Bills are going to eat them up. You know, the Bills are all about controlling the game and, you know, making the team play to the speed that they want to play to. And so if the Bills get out and in front, you know, score the first touchdown, get up by 10 points, I really think it's going to be hard for the Texans to claw back. I
agree. And, you know, people don't really give a lot of respect to Josh Allen in the sense of like his mobility. You know, I mean, he was like, he had the third most rushing yards out of a quarterback. And it's like
he's got phenomenal mobility.
Yeah,
anybody that says he doesn't needs to fucking watch football because that dude, if he does anything well, he moves.
That's what he's best
at. He moves, but I feel like they underestimate that aspect of it. And it's like that's going to give them, if he can move out of the pocket, if he can get things going with his legs and rely on that running game, they'll have a chance. But in the same sense, the Bills do play a lot of like soft coverage, and the Texans, if they can keep things short underneath, Deshaun Watson can have a huge game.
Kenny Stills, man, keep your eye out for him.
Yeah, I was like hard pressed. Like this is a Texans game, but Will Fuller's out today, and that's a huge hit. It's like if they can get if they had Will Fuller in this game, I would say Texans all the way.
Kenny Stills was a huge pickup for them at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, not just because he's a San Diego guy, but I have a lot of respect for what that guy can do on a football field. He's kind of like a poor man's Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
He runs really clean routes. He knows how to get open. I really think that with the Bills too, it's going to come down, or with the Texans aspect, it's can they get to Josh Allen? We've seen him make mistakes when people get to him. You know, he doesn't have accuracy deep down the field. You know, he's got a freaking cannon, but he overthrows people a lot. So if you can get pressure on him, but you can keep him in the pocket, this is a game the Texans should be able to win. But my money is leaning a little bit more towards the Bills.
Yeah, and J.J. Watt's back. They like to blitz a lot. So
I feel like the key for the Texans is they got to get out to a fast start, you know, because I think that Bills defense is pretty tough. And
Football needs the Texans to win this game.
really, I really want the Bills. I'm really hoping the Bills can get it done.
I just think that when you're looking at the divisional round, having Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson is just going to show all the owners, all the GMs out there that this is the route that football is developing into. Mm-hmm. All these quarterbacks that have the ability to extend plays and have big arms with accuracy down the field. I mean, I think that's exactly what the NFL needs, is to see how we're transitioning from Tom Brady into this new era of quarterbacks.
Yeah, I agree. Then also on the Saturday games, we have the Titans and the Patriots.
Oof.
I don't want to say it just because this is like, it's going to come back and bite me in the ass, and next week I'm going to be saying the Patriots are back, but I think the Titans
I've been high on the Titans since week 8.
Since they switched to Tannehill.
Since they switched to Tannehill, man, I
really like a new team.
Absolutely. Yep. I think that the Titans have the better team. Mm-hmm. I mean, up and down the roster.
More balanced roster for sure.
If they can get out, I mean, what this boils down to is the fact that the Patriots have had a hard time running the football. The Titans, on the other hand, run the football probably better than anybody else.
One of the best
right now.
in the NFL.
Well, no one wants to tackle a freaking semi truck coming at you. You know what I mean?
Fridge. They need to give him like a nickname like that.
God, dude, I couldn't imagine.
Just the barn
Imagine
house.
Showing up to camp and like, no, dude, the tight ends go over there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
DNs are practicing on the other side of the field.
4-4?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, here's the ball.
Yeah.
If only he could catch the ball. But
this is probably the hardest game to predict because it is Tom Brady. It is in Foxborough. Their history, makes me believe that they should come out on top of this game. They'll do everything that they can to win. It's going to be close. I do feel like this game. I haven't looked at the line yet, but I feel like this game's probably going to be.
I think the Pats are favored by 5, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think 5.5.
Did you?
I did put money down. I got I went the Texans and the Titans. Went with the T's.
Wow.
Is it a parlay?
Ballsy.
I went Texans straight up, and then I did a parlay with the Texans and the Titans. But the line, New England is -5, over under 44.5.
Is it too late to Venmo you?
No.
Okay.
You have until 5:00.
No, 5:00. Oh, for
that game.
Oh, gotcha.
1 o'clock for the other game.
Honestly, I'm gonna pick the Patriots though. I feel like it's. Every time I go against them, they just prove me wrong. So I'm gonna roll with Patriots until they let me down. To be honest,
a few years ago, I think it was Alex Smith was the quarterback of the Chiefs, and the Titans went in to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs in a really close game. I feel like the Titans have that magic ever since that Music City Miracle. Like if any team could do it, it's like what, if it was the Bills against the Patriots, no. Even the Texans, I mean, like in the playoffs, I'm not confident in that. But the Titans, for some reason, I just feel this like.
Well, I get and this game gives me more confidence to back the Titans only because of the way that the Patriots finished off the season. Like you couldn't stop Fitzmagic in that Week 17 game that would have potentially given you like the first round bye, and you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't really matter you're in the playoffs, but still, that's a huge game, and you couldn't get it done when you needed to. So.
Did you see that little stat about how Ryan Fitzpatrick had beat the Patriots with every team in the division?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
That's so
awesome.
crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Then Sunday games, we have the other side of the board. We have the Vikings and the Saints, and then we have the Seahawks and the Eagles. These matchups, to me, it's like I could see it going one or two ways. I really could. I could either see. I do see the Saints winning in the first round.
They thought that last time too, though.
They
did win last year, didn't they?
No, the last time the Saints and the Vikings played.
It was like 2017.
God. Oh, that stupid play.
Yeah,
Marcus Williams.
Yep.
It's a bad one. I know your name, man.
Well, the Vikings got their butt kicked the next game, didn't they?
Yeah, they got their ass kicked by the Eagles.
The Eagles. But I could see this game being either a shootout or completely the Saints just dominating. I do see them coming out of there. The Seahawks and the Eagles game, to me, is like very interesting.
Yeah, I can see it going either way.
So I'll piggyback off your first one.
Yeah.
I think that the Saints I feel like can dominate this game just because Dalvin Cook is slowed down. Adam Thielen's been slowed down, so it's a lot easier to, facilitate your defense around slower moving pieces. Plus, I mean, Drew Brees with a chip on his shoulder, man.
That's what I mean. He wants to ride out in the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
This is like his year. He's gonna put it all out there.
I mean, I'm heavy on the Saints this year. I still am shocked that they're playing in the wild card round because I feel like they're the best team in the NFC this year.
That's what I was going to say. They're my NFC pick this year.
I mean, I know they lost to the 49ers in that god-awful game earlier in the year, but
that was more like they slipped up in that game.
Yeah.
And they started like playing outside their game with that shootout. Both teams were. It wasn't really like... I didn't really feel like that characterized what those two teams were.
Yeah, it wasn't a really good, if I'm going back and watching game film, preparing for that rematch, I'm like, just throw this film out, man. This isn't going to happen
this
again.
Isn't helpful.
Yeah.
But I do like the Saints in that matchup, too.
Sucks for the Vikings, too, because I feel like they just drew I think they're too good to be getting bounced in the wild card round.
It's crazy. They're a 10-6 team or 11-5 team, and the whole NFC is very competitive this year. I mean, I don't feel confident saying that like any of these is a sure like shoe-in game. So I mean, they're matched up very well.
Yeah,
but I like the Saints better in this matchup, especially playing at home. But the Eagles and the Seahawks is a very intriguing matchup. A lot of the fact because of the Eagles, I mean, God, they've lost every freaking skill position that they've had this year.
Yeah.
Ertz is still hurt. They're still not sure if he's playing. Miles Sanders, a little dinged up. Hasn't been a sight of Jordan Howard since like week 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they're rolling Boston Scott.
I saw something that was like the Eagles are holding open tryouts. And I was like, bring Vince Papale back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was reading a statistic that Carson Wentz, he's thrown for over 4,000 yards this year, or over 3,000 yards. Can't remember which one. Over 4. He doesn't have a single receiver that's gone over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
And so I like all these people are like, oh, Carson Wentz is a bust. Like he's washed up. They should have gone with Nick Foles. It's like, to me, Carson Wentz has solidified himself as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean,
being able to get it done with what he has.
Very Phillip Rivers-esque, where it's like all your pieces are gone and you're still putting up crazy numbers. And you won games that mattered and you got your team into the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. The only reason why I think the Seahawks are going to win this game, one, because the Eagles are, have a lot of injuries as you've listed, and 2, this is Carson Wentz's first playoff game. So, it's like, I don't know exactly what the record is, but I know that quarterbacks in their first playoff game have a huge detriment. You know what I mean?
It's a learning experience.
The Seahawks have been slipping up hard lately, though. And I think
that's true.
I mean, a lot of it, too, is, they're back to Marshawn Lynch. Like, we got snapped back into 2015. I think that it's hard to predict that this team can, really outstretch the Eagles defense. The Eagles don't have a phenomenal defense, but you're basically leaving it all up to Russell Wilson, which is
it's not a bad thing
by any means
at all.
But I think that if this game was played in Seattle, it'd be the easiest pick in the world.
Exactly.
And since it's played in Philadelphia, I have a hard time picking the Seahawks over the Eagles. I think that the Eagles, especially, they got in that hot run a couple years ago when they won the Super Bowl. It's still almost the same roster. They're a good football team. They're dwindled.
Yeah, I feel like I like the Seahawks roster better. Their personnel, I think they match up better with their current healthy roster, like where everybody's at right now. But like you said, the Eagles at home, they play well at home. That's kind of their spot. And I do have the Seahawks, so I think the Seahawks are going to get it done. I think they're a really good team. And
I just look at some of these. I mean, they beat the Seahawks, or they beat the Eagles back in November. Since then, they lost 3 out of their last 4, the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they barely lost to the 49ers by like an inch. So, I mean, I would probably pick the Seahawks too.
Yeah,
it'll be a good game.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a hard-fought game. I don't see either team pulling away, but...
Again, the Seahawks... Football needs the Seahawks to be in the divisional round. Yeah. I swear to God, if I wake up on Monday and it's the Bills and the freaking Titans and the Eagles and the Vikings, I'm just going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
Well, especially because going into like the divisional rounds, the matchups get kind of
like you need
interesting.
Well, the divisional rounds, I feel like it would. Yeah,
it's a four-headed monster, man. Like the 49ers, the Packers have like again probably one of the top 2 most dominant run games in the NFL.
I like the Packers this year.
Yeah, and then you're looking at the Chiefs and the Ravens. I mean, like you need the best teams going forward. And I'm not saying that the Eagles aren't the best team, but the Seahawks match up better with the Packers and the 49ers a hell of a lot better than the Eagles do.
I think it's a 2-horse race in the AFC between the 2 teams that got the first round bye. And all the teams that are playing right now, I don't see them making it out of the division round.
Yeah, I mean,
AFC side.
Because that's the tough part, right? Is even if the Patriots do win this matchup, it's like then they got to go play in
Baltimore or Kansas City.
Yeah. And
that's not going to bode well for them.
No.
Well, they would have to go if they won. They would play
KC,
Kansas City. Yeah.
So they'd have to go to Mile High, and
it's just crazy how far they've fallen since the start of the season. I know they had a soft schedule, but just we were talking about this team being just an elite team.
Well, now the season's over, you really see how soft their schedule was. Like, I mean, I think the majority of their first games were with teams all picking within like the top 10 in the NFL draft.
I think the only like good team that they really knocked off was the Bills. They knocked them off twice, but outside of that, you look at their schedule, it's like they're knocking off all just.
And the Bills, I think, had the softest schedule throughout the entire NFL.
Well, they're playing in a crappy division.
That's the other thing why I like the Texans in this game too, is because the Bills haven't beat a playoff team.
Yeah.
You know, every team that was. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So
they're good defense. They'll be if the Texans get out to an early start. I think we'll know by the end of the first quarter who's winning that game.
It comes out to like if the Texans come out soft, then the Bills have a chance.
Yeah.
If the Texans come out hot and ready to go,
they're gonna smoke.
They're gonna smoke them.
Yeah.
Well, let's just do predictions. Who do we see in the conference and Super Bowl?
For me, I got to look at the matchups real quick.
Well,
so yeah, I mean, it would be. The Texans, it would be the Texans or the Patriots playing the Chiefs.
So if I'm starting with the AFC, I have the Texans over the Bills and the Titans over the Patriots.
So then the Titans would play the Ravens and the Texans would play Kansas City.
So it's basically coming down to Kansas City versus Baltimore there, and I like Kansas City.
Wow. Wow.
So it's not. Baltimore is a phenomenal team, and what Lamar Jackson has done this year is completely revolutionized how teams are going to look at drafting quarterbacks going forward. That being said, I think that the Chiefs have more offensive weapons, and a second time around are going to have, I think they beat them earlier in the year.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to have the ability to slow down Lamar Jackson. The thing that has happened all year is nobody has made Lamar Jackson make airtight throws.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with the speed, Tyrann Mathieu on the defensive side of the ball, having somebody that can shadow Lamar Jackson is going to make it very hard for them to win that game. So I have the Chiefs.
Okay.
I know it's an underdog pick, but
yeah, I got the Ravens. I have the same kind of matchup as you, or same left side of the bracket as you, and I got the Ravens winning that conference. So
yeah, I got the Ravens winning it, and obviously I think those two teams square off, the Chiefs and the Ravens, in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For the NFC side, Seahawks over the Eagles and the Saints over the Vikings. So we'll be looking at the 49ers, Saints, and Seahawks. 49ers, right? Or Seahawks, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Wait, is that right?
Yeah, that'd be right.
Because the 49ers are the 1 seed.
So they would be playing.
They would play the Saints, who are the 6 seed.
No,
the Saints are the 3.
This is the part that I think sucks, is because I think the two best teams are going to be squaring off in the division round with the Packers and Saints.
Yeah. So it would be the Seahawks and the 49ers again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
God, man, this is tough.
Yeah, I still got the Saints, even though I really like the Packers. I think they're the second best team in the NFC.
I'm not as high on the Packers as you guys are. I don't think they're as good of an organization as like the record or like the record shows. So I think the
Aaron Rodgers.
I know it's
Aaron Rodgers.
It's Drew Brees.
That's
Drew Brees has struggled in the playoffs.
They're both good. That's what I'm not saying.
They both have struggled in the playoffs. That's why.
I think
that's true. I don't know. I'm not as high on the Packers as you guys are. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to give you two different scenarios.
Okay.
If the Saints win this game against the Packers, then the Saints are going to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
If the Packers win, I have the 49ers facing the Chiefs. Because I think that the 49ers have a similar style offense as the Packers as far as running the ball. I just think that the 49ers run it better and have a better defense. I think that in another shootout with the 49ers and the Saints can come out on top in that one. I think a second look at that team.
Well, they got the quarterback advantage, and I always will side with the team with a better quarterback to win a decisive game.
Yeah.
It'll be 49ers Saints in the NFC Championship game for me, and then I have the Saints going to the Super Bowl.
I have the same thing in the conference championship with the 49ers and the Saints, but then I have the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. So a repeat of the 2013 Super Bowl with the Ravens 49ers.
The Harbaugh Bowl.
That's what I got. I got a repeat of that.
Who do you got winning?
I got the Ravens winning. Out of those two.
Saints,
that would be so impressive.
I have to put the juju out there. I have the Saints.
I think I have the Saints too. I have a feeling they just have the Saints kind of got a little bit. They've been screwed the last couple of years, and I feel like
I think
it's going to come back around to help them out in the end.
I just think that they have the best overall team. I think from top to bottom, roster to roster, they have the best overall team. Do I think that the Chiefs and Ravens have the most valuable weapons? Absolutely. But I think that, when it comes down to personnel versus personnel and head coach to head coach, I have no problem picking the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going any
it's
of
hard
those,
to pick from wild card weekend.
Any of those three matchups I could see happening. You know what I mean?
We'll reconvene after wild card weekend and see what our matchups look like. If the
watch,
Saints get bounced in the first round.
Watch the Vikings just upset everything.
It's like,
Jesus.
Great. Wonderful.
I wouldn't be totally upset, but at the same time, I do like the Saints.
Yeah, I do too. I just want Drew Brees to get another ring.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people talking about him like he's some scrub against
Well, it's because if you
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but
no
I mean,
doubt.
when the conversation comes up with Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, it's like he plays second fiddle to everybody, and it's like this dude has.
Yeah. Well, because if you look at it, it's like he's won the MVP once or whatever, but every single year he comes in second or third.
Yeah.
It's just because everyone else has their best season when he's just being consistently good. So
well, and it's also there's kind of that parity pick too. People like to see the new guy, the new shiny toy.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's going to get it this year, and last year it was Pat Mahomes, and I don't even remember who it was the year before, but
well deserving. But
you get what I'm saying though. It's like
it's well deserving, but at the same time, it's like Drew Brees is consistently
it's the
right
LeBron James
there.
effect.
Yeah,
everybody talks crap about LeBron James, saying he's not going to be he's not better than Jordan, he's not better than Kobe, and it's like he's in the conversation every year.
He could win the MVP every year if you guys were okay with it. Yeah, I agree. Move over to some college football. Last week, I didn't get to talk about the college football semifinals because Ryan was out, and I know you guys wouldn't. Brandon wouldn't really.
What a week to for me to miss, man.
Dude, it was a huge week for you to miss.
I know.
I mean, we had the Peach Bowl with LSU just destroying Oklahoma, being like, "What the hell is Oklahoma even doing here?"
I texted Dean before that matchup, and I was like, would it be the craziest thing if Oklahoma beat LSU? And he goes, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
He's like, every freaking analyst would be fired because nobody is picking Oklahoma. And I was like, well, I mean, Jalen Hurts has played against LSU before, so I mean, he kind of knows how their defense works. No.
No. The over under was 74, and I was like, okay, that's a huge number.
Oh, we lost money on this, too. That shit pissed me off. We lost money in the first half.
Dude, I did not win a single bet in bowl week. I got screwed. Anyways, so the line was set at 74. I was like, there's no way. LSU scores 63 points total in the game. Joe Burrow throws 7 touchdowns in the first half.
This is why I say every year that the Big 12 is overhyped. And they have no business being in a bowl game. They do not play defense.
No.
They don't. And the only reason that it looks like they play defense sometimes is because they're playing other Big 12 schools, and they don't play defense either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Lincoln Riley, phenomenal year. Good job. You had one bad loss, and then you had a terrible loss. But
embarrassing loss.
it comes down to, and like, we talked about this last week with, Clemson, or, a couple weeks ago with Clemson. Obviously they didn't play anybody throughout the whole year, but they still have the best recruiting class.
Mm-hmm.
Since there's people voting on these things, I don't see how they look at Oklahoma as a, top team. I get they have a huge fan base and it's going to make you a lot of money. I understand that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, gosh, I think Oregon just played Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They barely beat them.
Barely beat them.
But it was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me the Oregon's defense with some of the best recruiting class out of, Oregon's basically like the pipeline out of Southern California now because nobody wants to play at USC. They had the number one recruit last year with a defensive end, and you're telling me that team would have given up 7 passing touchdowns, 8 total touchdowns to one player? No.
There's
Not
no
a
way.
chance. Not a chance.
Yeah.
No, I understand they don't value other teams, but like the Big 12, they suck.
Yeah, and ever since like Alabama lost to LSU and then they lost to Auburn, everyone was like, Alabama's done, they're out of it. Obviously, I get it. 2-loss team, you're not going to make it to like the college football finals.
But would have been a better matchup.
Still, that would have been a better matchup.
But when the whole point of them voting things in was so they actually picked the 4 best teams, not the most deserving teams, because we often see it. There are deserving teams. Central Florida, that 2 years they went undefeated, and they're like, why aren't we getting an opportunity? Well, you're deserving, but you're not one of the 4 best teams.
You're not as good.
Yeah. So if Tua wouldn't have gotten hurt and they had 2 losses, I still think Alabama sneaks in there. I truly do. But they didn't.
Yeah.
And they messed up. Oklahoma did not belong in this game.
No, they did not.
And they proved that in the first quarter.
Yes. In the first quarter, they couldn't get the ball moving. They had
negative 7 yards on their first 2 drives.
Yeah. They didn't score until
LSU scored twice within 2 minutes. Yeah, it was bad. But on the other side of that, the Ohio State Clemson game was phenomenal.
That was such a good game. I mean, the targeting call was not a targeting call. I have massive issues with that just because if that's targeting and freaking Trevor Lawrence doesn't even have to come out for concussion protocol, that's extreme. You know what I mean? He took a shot directly to the head. He's laying on the ground, looks like he's freaking knocked out. And then you put him in. And then 2 plays later, he runs a 48-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
And that swings everything.
I do think that the better team won this game. As hard as it for me to say, because I've been really high on Ohio State all year.
Yeah.
We've been dogging Clemson. Dogging them. Like, I haven't given them as much credit as they deserve. But they still have some of the best players on their team. And Trevor Lawrence is a stud.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is unreal.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great matchup. I think that a lot of people are going to favor LSU in this matchup, but I think Clemson's ability and what Dabo Swinney does with that team, he's going to keep them in every game that they have.
Agreed. And yeah, the final Clemson LSU, get the Battle of the Tigers. So that'll be a great matchup.
It'll be good. Obviously we wanted to see the Joe Burrow face his old team. Ohio State versus LSU rematch like the 2010 or 11.
Yeah.
I know they've played it in a couple times together. But Clemson versus LSU is going to be great. It's hard for me to say that, especially after watching LSU just dominate Oklahoma the way that they did. It's hard for me to pick anybody but LSU. But I still like Clemson in this matchup. I think that they are going to match up very well with the speedsters that LSU has on the offensive side of the ball, and LSU still has yet to see any kind of pressure on the offensive side of from the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and Clemson has a great defense. Yeah, they got great DBs, so
they got speed everywhere.
Yeah, speed everywhere, so you're not going to be able to run them deep. So I do think it'll be a good matchup. But yeah, I got to take LSU.
Yeah,
just because Coach O.
Absolutely,
go Tigers. I love that he does that every time.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
He doesn't say I heard something that like randomly throughout the week he'll just walk down the hall singing like the fight song, and everyone like if you're like tight ends could be in a meeting and he'll just walk right by, start singing the song, and you're just like, what the hell is he doing out there?
That's pretty funny.
He's just he's amazing. But yeah, college football. Ryan, I know you wanted to go over some players that declared for the draft.
Yeah, we finally had Chase Young. Kind of saw that one coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
He's projected to be the number 2 overall pick in the draft. We also had I can't remember his first name, but Swift from the Georgia Bulldogs, the running back. He's 5'9", 215. He just declared. I think he's Mel Kiper's number 1 running back coming into this draft. Jonathan Taylor, running back out of Wisconsin, also declared for the draft. Not surprised with that one. He put up insane numbers this year. Definitely some good running backs coming out. And then the big one is we're still waiting on Tua Tagovailoa.
What's gonna happen with that?
So I'm hearing through a little Twitterverse and all these things that there's a lot of speculation that he's going to return to Alabama for his senior season, and I have to say that would be the dumbest thing that this kid could do.
I agree.
I think that if you look at coming off of an injury, and teams are still projecting you as a first round pick, and you're probably going to go within the top 10, I would imagine, depending on if these GMs see something that we don't see. I cannot imagine that he would fall much past like 5, 6, or 7.
The only reason I could see him wanting to stay is if his agent's chirping in his ear that like teams aren't going to draft you high, they're not going to want to pay you because of your hip injury, because like your injury history. So you're going to need another year to prove that you're back.
But my thing is that next year, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields are going to enter the NFL draft, most likely, and both of those guys
are arguably better.
To me, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is like this probably the second coming of Andrew Luck. Like when people like look at a QB prospect, but he's more mobile than Andrew Luck was, and he's got more arm strength and accuracy that Andrew Luck did coming out of college. And the sample size is there because he's played in bigger games. So you've seen him through, college football playoffs, winning a national title, which is something we didn't see with Andrew Luck. Yeah. So I can't imagine that thinking next year you're going to be in a better position to get drafted. I mean, the next quarterback up there is Justin Herbert from Oregon, who's played he didn't throw the ball fantastic, but he played well in his bowl game. I mean, the only reason that this would make sense is that if he really, really, really doesn't want to play for Miami. So I feel like that might be like where he's kind of like, okay, do I want to like take my injury history to an organization that has traded away all their good offensive linemen and is literally starting over fresh? So I think that's going to be a lot of the hiccup, but I hope he enters the draft, man, for his sake.
Yeah, for his sake. He's making his decision on Monday.
That's correct.
Monday, so.
But I mean, the other thing too is like, the Chargers, Phillip Rivers just finished up. He got an expiring contract, and there's a lot of talk that the Chargers aren't going to be picking up his contract. So they're going to be looking for another quarterback. I don't know if they're going to be doing that in free agency, if they're going to be doing that in, the draft. If I'm Tua, I mean, I know Brandon was talking shit earlier about not wanting to go to the Chargers. They don't have a great offensive line, but there's probably not a better situation to go to as a young quarterback than the Chargers if you're looking in the top 10.
I just think it's a hard place to go because we've seen it. They have no home games,
so
it's hard to like.
But I mean, from a personnel standpoint, you're going to be going into a team that has Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Hunter Henry. Like I said, there's issues there with the offensive line, but that's also because they've had a quarterback that doesn't know how to move his feet. Yeah. So we don't really know how bad that offensive line truly is. So it's like if you think you're going to go 6 to the Chargers, I mean, dude, I would take that option because I mean, who else are you going to go to? Like, you can be Joe Burrow and you're going to play for the Bengals. Who wants to play for the Bengals right now?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to play for the Dolphins? No, don't want to do that.
And I agree with you. It's like this is the year that he should come out because of the names you listed that are coming out next year. And you told me that stat beforehand of lefty QBs. It's like you want to limit the amount of like competition you have. So.
What is it again? I can't remember exactly what it was. I was telling him the other day.
Yeah, I remember.
There's only been like 8 starting lefty quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. There's been like 20 total or something. But whatever it is, it's 1%.
Yeah. It's like a super tiny sample size of starting lefty QBs that are actually good.
Yeah.
It's like,
but I'm actually pretty high on Justin Herbert too. I think that that's another situational thing. If he's going to the, freaking Bengals or the Dolphins, don't know if he's going to play that well. If he goes to the Chargers, where he's got weapons, might be okay.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an interesting draft this year. I think 1 and 2 are definitely solidified. I think if you look at past that, there's a lot of big question marks, and most of it is because everybody's looking for head coaching jobs. But with the Lions picking there at number 3, I'm seeing Jeff Okudah, cornerback from Ohio State, coming off pretty quickly, and then Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver from Alabama. So those look like they could be up there. It's weird because 3, 4, and 5, 2, 3, and 4, they've just drafted their quarterbacks, or they have Matt Stafford on their team. So it's like, you'll see a quarterback, and then everybody's kind of like scrambling. Where's the next one going to go?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it could be there at 5, 6, and 7. You have the Panthers, the Chargers, and the Dolphins. Be an interesting year. I feel like there's probably going to be a lot of people reaching.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll see a lot of hopefully we see a lot of moves. I like seeing teams moving up and down on the on the draft board, like trading their pick and getting some other stuff. It's exciting.
And I think it's a talented draft class. I mean, I don't think that there's it's not one of those top heavy drafts. I think it's a pretty even keel across the board.
Yeah.
So if I'm a team like the Lions picking at 3, and the Chargers are if Tua does declare and it's you want to go up and get him, I'm listening to all offers because that's going to be a valuable pick, and you'll probably get more than a standard trade from 6 to 3.
Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, I think that's all really for football.
Yeah.
We mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but Padres 2020. You guys want to do a little preview of what we expect out of the season? I know we were talking about the Tommy Pham trade. Ryan, you've been on board. Brandon and I
getting on
seeing
board.
some stuff. Yeah, really warming up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we're getting real consistency, a lot of plate discipline. Something that we really haven't had in the past. So it'll
Not
be
in the last decade.
And we're I feel like we're hedging our bets a little bit. We're not going all in on potential now. We're going in more on what we know is more of a proven product with Tommy Pham. Going forward, I feel like this isn't the finished the roster we have now is not the roster we're going to have on opening day. There's still moves that I think the Padres are going to make. I think we're probably going to be one of the more active teams to finish out this offseason. I still think we'll probably make a move for a starting pitcher, whether that's a front of the line guy or back of the rotation guy. I think that's still to be determined. And then I really think we're going to get another outfielder. I think that's going to be something that they're going to target. As far as catcher goes, I think we're going to be rolling with the 2 that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Second base is the only other question mark, I think, but I think they're probably pretty content with Profar at second.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's an upgrade from the production that we had at that position last year.
And stuff.
And Urias played shortstop for a good chunk of the year too. So I mean, with
Kinsler
and Garcia. I think that it's an upgrade in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the overall WAR is better, obviously, but I mean, you're giving up a little bit of average for some more power and on base percentage, which is nice.
Profar's pretty raw too. Still, even though he's been in the league for a while, I feel like that potential's still there to be a.
He's still young.
Player.
Yeah, he's still young.
I mean, it wasn't too long ago. He was the number 1 prospect in baseball. So.
Definitely have a lot of number 1 prospects on our team.
Yeah,
like
number 1 overall out of any team in baseball. There's only a few of those out there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. My thing, kind of piggybacking off what you were saying about trading for a pitcher. It's I've kind of been hoping that that's what they are, but I have this weird feeling that Preller is satisfied with what he has right now.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week when
I don't see it because there's prospects again, but
yeah, we were talking about it just how he seems like he's content with rolling with his 5 that he has, and Paddock and Lamet, we've kind of Luke Casey, we've kind of been iffy on, but even still, it's Garrett Richards.
Zach Davies now.
Zach Davies,
Davies is a good
fixture. He's a proven pitcher, and I feel like he's gonna slot in that 3 range. He'll be our number 3 starter, and he'll do a good job.
Yeah.
But
still a coin flip of what we're gonna have with Garrett Richards.
Yeah.
The back half of the rotation does not look promising.
Yeah.
But
again, like we talked about, Patino and Gore, how soon are we going to see them? Because if those two guys come up and we get any kind of positive, play out of them, it's a good looking rotation.
Yeah.
I think we've done a decent job of developing our starting pitching. You look at Paddock's really the only like top pitching prospect that's come up and that
shut it down.
Well, and that's I mean he's living up to what he was supposed to be.
Because Lamet played out of his mind his first year. I mean, his ERA wasn't phenomenal, but he struck a shit ton of people out.
I like that guy's delivery. I don't know what it is.
Morahan and what was the other guy's name?
Patino?
No, we traded another guy.
Baez?
Javier Baez.
Yeah.
Or not Javier Baez. Michel Baez.
Michel Baez.
Yeah. Those are the only two guys I kind of look at. I'm like, you guys really haven't lived up to much. But they also didn't get like a full sample size.
No, absolutely.
And I feel like Patino and Gore are going to come up and they'll throw down, I think. I'm pretty confident in them. But we also don't have to make a deal for front end rotation piece. I know that's one of the things that going into the off season, I think was a big point for us. That was something we were trying to accomplish.
Because there were so many names out there.
Well, I think Davies does kind of. I see him more of like a number 2 pitcher. I know that like with the Brewers, he was more in like a 2 to 3 to 4 range.
He was still one of their better pitchers.
Yeah.
They don't really have that great of a starting rotation. Yeah. He just hasn't pitched a full season.
Yeah.
He's like a 150 inning guy, and most starters go 200.
Yeah. But I definitely agree that they need to trade for an outfielder. I think Gresham, he's got raw talent. But do we want to bank on raw talent again? I'm not considering that, going in. Plus, you have to plan for injuries, so he might get an opportunity later on to the spot where that's how he came up this past year was when Yelich went out. But I definitely think that they need to. I mean, with as many good prospects as they have, and the fact that they've already started to plan for this being their year, I think that they need to just pay the piper and go after a freaking outfielder.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it has to be like a Chris Bryant or a Mookie Betts. As much as I would love to see either of those guys with the pinstripes this year.
Yeah.
They got to do something. I think Mookie Betts probably isn't going to cost them as much as we think because he's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
But Chris Bryant, man, I mean, I don't know how much the Cubs are trying to.
I feel like he's going to get a lot.
No, I mean,
because they still have 2 years, I think, left.
Yeah,
on
but
his.
I don't know how true these things are that they're trying to move on from him.
Yeah. That's kind of more like we're passively listening. We're willing to listen to offers if you blow us away.
But if there's any team out there that has the ability to move for one of those guys, it's the Padres. I mean, they have so much young talent.
There's really no player in baseball that the Padres couldn't get if they wanted to.
Absolutely, 100%.
We have the assets to make things happen.
And there's not a lot of teams out there in a position where, if you go out and add one of those players, you're not just talking about trying to push for a wild card anymore. Now you're talking about a team that could potentially push the Dodgers for a division.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I have these high hopes that they're going to do that. But if you look at just the offensive side of the ball with Tommy Pham, Fernando Tatis, Machado, Hosmer, I mean, and then you plug in a Bryant or a Betts, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's
a tough lineup.
And it's not just a team that's like the Dodgers where they hit a crap ton of home runs. It's a team that gets on base consecutively. It's a team that, manufactures runs just based off of their statistical history.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that they do. I really do.
I agree.
My number is 85 this year. I feel like that's the number of wins that they need to have for me to consider this a successful season, which means that they were pushing for a wild card spot.
I agree. I think that's where we're all kind of sitting.
Yeah.
I think
I don't expect them to win 90 plus games. If they do, that means they surpassed my expectations this year, but 500 is not enough this year.
No.
Last year it was enough. This year, they got to be going around 85 wins, which is, coming up just short of making the playoffs,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But I'm excited. I'm excited for baseball to start up again.
I would love to see some competitive baseball in September. I mean, it's been so long since we've seen a team that's actually had a chance at making the playoffs. Yeah. We went a whole decade without experiencing that, 2010 was the last relevant year we've had.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it's just
start off the decade right. Yeah, it is. It's sad. It's tough to watch every year.
They did like the the misery index or whatever. And I think we were 7th out of all major sports in the United States. It's sad. We deserve better than that.
We do. I agree. But yeah, I'm excited. Positive outlook, positive 2020. All right, let's do stat of the day. You got it, Rye?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So we talked about, the college football championship coming up, LSU versus Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence has never lost a game in college football.
Dude, that's crazy.
He's 25-0.
Whew.
Just
That's
think about that
impressive.
before you place your bet next week. 25-0.
25-0.
And like obviously some of those regular season wins, there's a lot of crappy teams in there, but Ohio State, Alabama, I don't remember who they beat last year to get to the final, but they've beaten a lot of good teams on their way to that.
Yeah, he hasn't played just chump teams.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But I mean, LSU is a force to be reckoned with. I will say.
We'll see. I'm not confident
Dean
in the
will
SEC
say.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's crazy though. 25-0. Jesus. Well, all right, everybody. Happy New Year.
New year, new me.
We are the three amigos,
New Year,
and
same old shit.
yeah, don't. Hopefully, there's no dick fingers in 2020.
Yeah. God.
Forgot to bring it up earlier. Dang
Yeah,
it.
that's gonna be it at the in the college football
What was
playoff
it?
game.
Like OBJ has like 7 drops this year versus the Falcons, who had like 4 all year as a team. Like OBJ's got dick fingers.
OBJ's got dick
Yeah,
fingers.
he does.
Yeah.
He used to not. He used to be just nice and
Everyone
firm.
went Baker
And
Mayfield.
now he's flaccid. Dick
Now
fingers.
he's flaccid.
Yeah, it's the cold weather. It's Cleveland's coming.
It's yeah. They shrivel.
It's pretty cold in New York, I'm guessing too. But
Shut up.
you ruined the joke.
He
No,
wore gloves. He wore protection.
Hand warmers.
hand
Yeah.
warmers.
Well, all right, everybody. Three Amigos in a Podcast 2020. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Later.